There comes a moment in every person's life when they begin to realize that intelligence is not just about remembering facts or scoring well on exams. True intelligence, the kind that transcends systems and withstands the test of time, lies in wisdom. And when you seek wisdom, there is perhaps no tradition more profound, more enduring, and more quietly powerful than the philosophies of the East. To become truly intelligent, according to the ancient masters of Asia, is to see the world not just with the eyes, but with the spirit. It is to listen not only with the ears, but with silence. And it is to know not only what is true, but how to live in alignment with it. Before we go further, if this message resonates with something deep inside you, then this is your call to action. Subscribe to the channel right now. Like this video, so we can reach more people who need this truth. Leave a comment sharing your thoughts, your struggles, your insights, and most importantly, click the link in the pinned comment. There you will find a powerful opportunity to reshape your life, to realign your mind and purpose, to step into a way of being that thousands before you have used to transform everything. Don't let this pass. Take the step. Eastern wisdom doesn't rush. It doesn't boast. It doesn't advertise intelligence in loud words or flamboyant displays. Instead, it teaches that intelligence is a reflection of harmony. In Chinese thought, intelligence is inseparable from balance. The wise person is not the one who knows the most, but the one who lives with the greatest awareness. The one who sees beyond duality, who walks the middle path, who knows when to act and when to wait. Intelligence here is not domination, but receptivity. It is not the conquering of others, but mastery over oneself. In Japanese culture, the idea of kaizen teaches us that small, deliberate improvement each day builds a kind of intelligence that no textbook can teach. It's an intelligence forged in humility and consistency, in the quiet mastery of one's craft over decades. The truly intelligent person, in this view, is not the loudest in the room, but the most deliberate. Not the one who speaks most, but the one who listens most deeply. And not the one who always wins, but the one who learns in every moment. Buddhist teachings reveal another layer. Intelligence, they say, is not the accumulation of information, but the shedding of illusion. It is the clear seeing of what is, the one who can observe the mind without attachment, who can see suffering without panic, who can sit in silence without distraction. That person has begun to cultivate true intelligence. It is not cleverness, it is clarity, not speed of thought, but depth of being. From India, we receive the teachings of the yogis, who spent lifetimes studying the mind, not to manipulate others, but to master the self. They understood that real intelligence begins when thought becomes quiet, when the mind is no longer your master, but your servant. Through breath, through stillness, through disciplined practice, they unlocked dimensions of understanding that modern education barely acknowledges. Intelligence, for them, was emerging with truth itself, a direct experience of reality beyond words. These cultures did not chase quick results. They did not glorify busyness or multitasking. Instead, they revered presence. They trained attention, like a sword. They understood that an unfocused mind is a weak mind. That if your awareness is scattered, your intelligence is compromised. They built practices, meditation, martial arts, calligraphy, tea ceremonies, not just for ritual, but to train the mind to be here now, fully, because only when you are present can you be truly intelligent. Because only in presence can you see clearly, choose wisely, and act with precision. So ask yourself, what is clouding your intelligence? Is it distraction? Is it ego? Is it noise from the world that pulls your mind in 1,000 directions? Is it the desire to be seen as smart, rather than the discipline to become wise? The path of Eastern wisdom demands that you let go of these things. It demands that you stop chasing and start seeing, that you release the compulsion to perform and begin the journey to understand. To continue exploring this truth, stay with us. Subscribe, like, and comment so we can keep building this movement together. And don't forget to check the link in the pinned comment. There is a gateway, there a chance to begin the kind of transformation that no school, no app, no shortcut can offer. This is the way of the wise. This is the path of those who choose intelligence, not as an identity, but as a way of being. There is something profoundly humbling about realizing that intelligence is not only about what you know, but how deeply you see, how calmly you think, and how intentionally you live. In the East, the pursuit of intelligence has never been about accumulating facts, winning debates, or appearing clever in a crowd. It has always been about transformation. Real intelligence, in the eyes of the ancient sages, is measured in wisdom, balance, restraint, and harmony. To become more intelligent, you must not only expand your mind, but purify your character. You must train not just your thoughts, but your spirit. You must walk a path that challenges you to grow beyond comfort, ego, and haste. If you're watching this, it's not by accident. Somewhere in you, there's a spark, looking for direction, a hunger for truth, deeper than the noise of modern life. You're not just looking to be smart, you want to be wise. You want clarity in chaos.com, in stress, and power in restraint. Before we continue, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Click the like button so this message can reach more people like you, and leave a comment sharing what inner change you are pursuing. Most importantly, check the link in the pinned comment. It's more than a program. It's a gateway to a higher version of yourself, a transformation that thousands have already experienced. To be intelligent in the Eastern sense means to see the patterns of life clearly, to read between the movements of nature and human behavior, and to respond with stillness rather than reactivity. This kind of mind is not born from books or lectures alone. It is forged in silence, in patience, in long moments of observation and restraint. The Buddhist monk does not seek brilliance in quick thinking, but in the ability to understand suffering, to let go of attachments, and to live compassionately in each breath. The Taoist does not measure his intellect by sharp logic, but by his ability to flow with life, to yield when pressed, to remain firm when needed, and to find joy in the simple and the plain. Intelligence is a quiet strength. It is the ability to pause before reacting, to question what everyone else accepts, to see what others ignore. In the East, stories of the wise often involve men and women who lived simply, spoke little, but whose insight changed everything around them. Their wisdom came not from arrogance, but from humility. They observed, they listened, they practiced, and through decades of devotion, they became mirrors of truth. This is the path of intelligence you are invited to walk. The modern world rushes. It celebrates speed, stimulation, and sensationalism. But true intelligence cannot survive in constant noise. It requires space. In Zen practice, the empty space between actions is just as important as the actions themselves. Silence is a teacher. Stillness is a forge. When you remove distractions, when you stop feeding your brain with constant stimulation, a new clarity emerges. You begin to notice the subtleties in behavior, the micro-expressions in faces, the emotional undercurrents. In conversation, you start to think beyond the surface. You begin to feel the structure of truth. This is what the Eastern masters understood. That deep thought does not come from always doing more, but from doing less with more attention, from focusing completely on the present moment, from refining your awareness to such a degree that even the wind in the trees speaks wisdom. And once you begin to live this way, intelligence stops being a performance. It becomes a way of being. Wisdom, in the East, often begins with questions, not questions for others, but for yourself. Why do I want what I want? Where is this emotion really coming from? What assumptions am I not seeing? The intelligent mind does not rush to conclusions. It digs deeper. It does not defend ego. It seeks clarity, It knows that certainty is often the mask of ignorance, while true understanding is usually dressed in humility. The wise are not afraid to say, "I don't know," because they understand that not knowing is the beginning of knowing. Eastern thought also teaches that intelligence is not separate from virtue. A brilliant mind without compassion is a dangerous thing. A sharp tongue without restraint can destroy, rather than enlighten. True intelligence is always rooted in ethics, in kindness, in self-awareness. A samurai was not considered wise merely for knowing tactics or philosophy, but for living with honor. A Confucian scholar was not considered wise for his memory alone, but for his character, his discipline, and his service to others. In the East, intelligence that is not kind, calm, and just as incomplete. You grow more intelligent, not by fighting the world but by mastering yourself. You sharpen your mind by confronting your biases, your laziness, your emotional chaos. You read, yes, you study, but you also sit in silence. You also reflect. You question your actions. You cultivate patience. You take care of your body, because a tired, agitated body clouds the mind. You serve others, because selfishness narrows your vision. Intelligence is not just the ability to think, but the ability to see the full picture, and to act on that, seeing with wisdom and strength. If this resonates with you, you already know what to do. Stay with this channel. Subscribe now if you haven't yet. Click like to let us know you're here. Share your journey in the comments. And most importantly, don't forget the pinned comment. The path of transformation awaits, and it begins with action. Not someday, not when you feel ready, but now. The true intelligence the East reveres is not born in the fire of instant brilliance, but in the cold discipline of continual reflection. It does not leap from the pages of a book into a person's mind overnight. It grows in silence, in attention, in restraint, and in the ceaseless pursuit of understanding that serves not just the self, but the whole. In the Zen tradition, the master does not give the student all the answers. He waits, he watches, he asks a single question that forces the student to return to himself. Because in the Eastern mind, knowledge is not something that can be handed over. It must be awakened. It must be realized. This is why the path of true intelligence demands the death of arrogance. It requires one to stop trying to be clever and instead to become deeply, almost painfully, aware. To recognize what is not known. To listen more than speak. To wait more than react. And in this waiting, thinking begins. The Taoist sages observed the world like rivers observe stones, with patience, with humility. They did not race to conclusions. They absorbed, they allowed, they let truth reveal itself over time. In a world obsessed with rapid information and hot takes, this ancient way feels like rebellion, but it is in that rebellion that wisdom lives. Because what the world calls intelligence is often just noise, memorized facts, shallow opinions, echoes of others' thoughts repeated without examination. But the intelligence shaped by the East is quiet, still, watchful. It grows deep roots before ever blooming. It does not need to be displayed, for it is not a performance. It is a lens through which life is seen clearly. And yet, none of this is possible without the mind being still. Stillness is the birthplace of insight. That is why meditation, breathing, and solitude are not accessories in Eastern learning. They are the core. Because the mind that is always distracted, always rushing, always consuming, can never truly learn. It can gather information, but not wisdom. And it is wisdom that leads to right action, to meaningful life, to freedom. So if you seek to become truly intelligent, begin not by seeking more, but by subtracting. Remove what is unnecessary. Remove noise. Remove the pride of knowing. Begin again like a child. Empty your cup, so it may be filled with truth, not opinion. The martial arts masters, though often associated with combat, are in truth among the greatest thinkers of the East. Because in combat, thought and instinct must align perfectly. There is no room for illusion. There is no tolerance for arrogance. Only presence, only precision, only truth. A single flaw in thought leads to defeat. And so they train not just the body, but the mind, the spirit. They teach that the greatest victory is the one that does not require the fight at all. That intelligence is not in the strength of one's fist, but in the strength of one's awareness. To know the self so well that no enemy can provoke, no insult can shake, no loss can destroy. This is mastery. This is intelligence. To be able to remain unmoved by the chaos of the world, and yet move with it. In harmony, the Confucian scholars taught that intelligence without virtue is dangerous, that knowing what is right means nothing without the courage to act on it. And so, the intelligent man in the East is not a spectator, he is a servant, a cultivator of the good, a leader by example, not by ego. He does not dominate the room with his knowledge. He elevates the room by the quality of his listening, the clarity of his thought, and the purity of his intention. He understands that thought must lead to right living, or else it is wasted. That a brilliant mind with no discipline is a candle in the wind, but a quiet mind, rooted in ethics, fed by patience, and sharpened by practice, becomes a guiding light, not just for the self, but for many. And now, you must ask yourself, do you want to appear intelligent, or do you want to become it? One path is loud, fast, full of pride. The other is slow, humbling, difficult, and true. The modern world will tempt you with the illusion of quick knowledge. It will praise the ones who shout the loudest. But the Eastern path of intelligence leads you inward. It strips away the masks. It demands that you look at your ignorance and bow to it. That you study the way the wise lived, not just the words they left behind. That you question, not for rebellion, but for truth. That you practice restraint, not to suffer, but to see clearly. That you become quiet, so that you may finally hear. And if any part of this message stirred something in you, do not let it fade. Let it become the start of your journey. Subscribe to this channel to walk further into the deep paths of Eastern wisdom. Leave a like to help us reach others who are ready to change. Comment with your thoughts, your struggles, your breakthroughs, so we may grow together. And above all, click the link in the pinned comment. That opportunity waiting there is not an accident. It is your next step. Thousands have already begun transforming their lives through it. Now it's your turn. Don't chase surface intelligence. Seek truth. Seek wisdom. Seek mastery. And remember, the mind you build is the life you live. Choose it well.